Really, really excited to be here. I know that our staff and players have really enjoyed the hospitality of the Sugar Bowl. I know a lot of coaches and players get to go their whole career and don't have an opportunity to play in this game. We're fortunate enough to have a little bit of both. Some guys that have had some experience in this venue, as well as some guys that haven't. So I think we've really been impressed with the setup. Everything's been really first class. Obviously, our number one goal is here to come take care of business when it comes to the game, but everything surrounding the game has been a lot of fun for us as a staff and as players as we move forward. But I guess we can open up now for questions.
If you would, raise your hand and identify yourself by media outlet, and we'll bring a microphone to you.
Hey, Dan, this is Anthony Dash, ReviewJSports.com. I wonder if you kind of talk about the dynamic, how it's been since Mel left for Colorado. And I know Kirby's been working with the secondary, but as far as play calling goes, how has that been going? How will that go for the ball game coming up?
I think a lot of people put a lot more into that than is probably the actual case. We make a lot of decisions during the week before you ever get to the game. So when you look at a specific situation in the game, a lot of those decisions have already been made. But I think the right answer is that everybody's going to be involved in that, just like they have been all week. A combination of Coach Smart, Coach Schumann, Coach Scott, and myself are working really hard to put together a great plan and have a great plan for these guys. But when you get into the game, a lot of times those decisions have already been made.
Let's go over to this left side of the room over here.
Hey, Dan, Mark Weiser, Athens Banner Herald. When did Kirby say, hey, we want you to go do the press conference and in the big room? And have you done a podium press conference before? And what's going on with the play calling? How's that working out with the staff?
Well, like I just said, we've been divvying stuff up as a staff. Everybody's kind of stepped up and done their part. The defense we run is the defense we run, and that's not necessarily going to change. But everybody's been involved in how those pieces will be divided, and everybody will be involved in the game, just like they are for every one of our games. Coach Tucker is obviously a phenomenal coach. We're all really, really excited for him and his opportunity. But just like when he was here, a lot of those decisions were made before he stepped out on the field. Coach Smart and I talked about it a little bit yesterday, coming up here doing the podium experience. This is definitely my first Sugar Bowl podium experience, and a little different than being at Park Hill South High School when I was an assistant coach. But the football field's still 100 yards last time I checked, and we're going to be okay when we step out on there.
Coach, we'll go on the right side over here in the back.
Hey, Coach, Mike Griffith, AJC Dog Nation. As far as the Texas offense, can you talk about the problems that the Texas receiving corps presents, and have you seen a receiving corps that has this amount of weapons this deep this season?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that's really, really exciting for our guys. Obviously, Texas is really, really talented at wideout, and probably the thing that when you look at it on paper that sticks out the most is their size. They're big guys, can really stretch the field. And have connected on a lot of explosive plays this year. You talk about plays over 20 yards. They've had a lot of those. So for us, it's a unique challenge. But I think that's something our players are really, really excited about. Obviously, Texas is a premier program. They're a national brand. So this game for us is really exciting to go against a great opponent with those tools, with those weapons. Excited to see how our guys perform.
Back on the left side of the room, Coach.
Bob Ballou, CBS Austin. Following up on that first, are LJ and Colin Johnson comparable to anyone y'all have played this year?
Yeah, they're exceptional players. They're really, really talented guys. Immediately you turn on the film and they stick out. They create some matchup issues, for guys. So for us, like I said, I think our guys are really excited. Our last game was the first, right? Our next game's the first. So having that much time to be able to prepare and watch film, those are two guys you definitely have to focus on, and we've done that.
And then second, what stands out about JR? What makes him such a good player, and what has he meant to your defense?
J.R. Reed, J.R. Reed is he's kind of a veteran, and not kind of a veteran. He is a veteran, but he's way mature beyond his years. Even though he's a little bit older guy in the room, he just has a calm and control when he steps on the field. I think our guys really trust him. Our defense really gravitates to him because he understands the communication. He understands all the pieces and elements of our defense and really does a good job getting our guys lined up when it comes to communication, and you know, obviously he makes great plays.
Stay on the same side of the room over here.
Hey, Coach, this is Zach Line from WSB Channel 2 in Atlanta. How does knowing that DeAndre is not going to play in this game alter the preparation and the game plan itself, and who then, if anyone, can fill that void?
Yeah, you know, we have a lot of guys. You know, we play a lot of different personnel groups. We do a lot of things with a lot of different players in our defense already. And we've been fortunate enough to be in some situations this year where we've been able to play a lot of other players beyond DeAndre when it comes to, you know, Tyson Campbell, Eric Stokes, Mark Webb, some of those guys in the back end that have played a lot of significant snaps for us. So you don't replace a DeAndre Baker. I mean, he's a great player. We're really, really excited for him and as he's moving forward. But we have a lot of guys that have gotten significant snaps this season. So I think that transition will be smooth.
Over on the right side of the room over here in the middle.
Hey, Coach. Brian Davis from the Austin American-Statesman. With a fresh set of eyes on Sam Ehlinger, I wonder, what did you see as to why this guy did not throw an interception for as long as he did?
Yeah, he's you know, he appears as a guy that really has a great concept of their offense and what Coach Herman and their staff are trying to get done. He's a good decision maker, and he's not careless with the ball. And I think the threat that probably shows up to us, you know, on film is when there isn't something there, he has the ability to run with his feet and take off and create plays, which he's done a great job with all year. So he's not a bad decision maker. He doesn't make a lot of bad decisions, protects the ball, which obviously always gives you a chance.
I believe we have another over on the left.
Coach Nathan Brown, the New Orleans Advocate. Now that you've been with Coach Smart for about a year or so, what do you feel like you've been able to learn from him, as you know, with him being a former defensive coordinator, and how would you describe him as a coach?
You know, I think one thing that really sticks out to you about Coach Smart is he's what I would call, you know, obviously in coaching we all see ourselves as teachers, but Coach Smart is also a learner. And if there's anybody that he can absorb some knowledge from, soak up some information from, you know, even as a guy that's been as successful as he's been, he's looking for that opportunity to continue to learn and expand and adapt and change. And I think that's what really makes guys like Coach Smart unique is they're looking for opportunities to improve themselves. And when you work for a guy that's looking for an opportunity to improve, it really makes it easy as an assistant coach or a player to say, dang, I got to get better. There's something I can work on. There's something I can improve. And that's something that really sticks out to me about Coach Smart.
Move over here to the right side.
Dan, Dave Plotter from WTVM in Columbus, Georgia. The departure of Roquan Smith left a big hole in the defense from last season. Can you talk about the way the linebacker group has developed, especially the guys on the inside?
Yeah, you know, I think that's interesting. When you look at inside linebacker, that was obviously something that everybody talked about before the season started, and he's obviously playing pretty well right now in the NFL as well, so we knew what we had when we had Roquan. But it's been exciting. It's really been a combination of a lot of players playing on those inside positions. I think we have 4 guys over 200 snaps at inside linebacker, which is you know, pretty impressive. But they've continued to grow and play you know, really well throughout the year, stepping up. And you know, Coach Schumann obviously does a really, really good job with the development of those guys. So it's exciting to see them step up and not have a big drop off at that position.
Back over on the left on the front row.
Hey, Dan, Seth Emerson with The Athletic. A couple direct questions. Did you have a chance to follow Mel to Colorado as defensive coordinator, and also what are the chances that you might be Mel's replacement at Georgia?
You know, I don't really want to speak to that. Right now, our focus is on this game. You know, I have all the respect in the world for Mel Tucker. I love Mel Tucker. He's been a great mentor and friend in this business. But, you know, moving forward right now, our focus is on this game the first.
Let's move back over on the right in the back.
Chip Towers, Atlanta Journal-Constitution's Dog Nation. Kind of the same question. I've just wondered, have you interviewed for the Georgia's defensive coordinator job, or would that even be necessary?
Our complete focus has been this game, you know, and then, you know, leading up to this game, we had our signing day, you know, so, you know, I think opportunities and decisions will be made. There's probably a ton of, and there is a ton of interest. This is the Georgia defensive coordinator job. There's a ton of interest in that job. We're going to be able to attract a lot of great candidates for that position. You know, we have a lot of great people on staff and in-house. Like I said, I think everybody's kind of taking a piece of the pie stepping forward, moving into this game, and what it'll look like from a play caller, signal caller standpoint into this game. And then after the game, I think there'll be some decisions made as what that looks like moving forward.
Coach Dave Plata again. Follow up on the earlier question about linebackers. One of the guys that stepped up in the middle has been Tay Crowder, who is he changed position from running back.
That's
Can you
right.
talk about his development?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. You talked about a guy named Roquan earlier. Roquan played running back in high school as well. Tay Crowder played running back. That always seems to be a really smooth transition for players that have good vision. They can play the running back position and then turn. And then when we look for linebackers in our league, and certainly like the Big 12, you're looking for guys that can run. And Tay's one of those guys that can run. And you don't create some of those same matchup issues that can happen on a back end, the backfield, or a wideout that he might have to match up with, or a tight end that he might have to match up with. So that's something Tay's done a really good job of this year.
Let's move over to the left side. I believe someone has the microphone.
Dan, Josh Mixon from the Macon Telegraph. How have you seen Monty Rice develop, not just as a player, but as a leader of that group?
Yeah, Monty's got a great personality, and I don't know if everybody knows that hasn't been around our program. He's a guy that's a lot of fun to be around, has a smile on his face, and works extremely hard at his craft. He's a smart guy, really intelligent, and he's a heavy hitter. When he puts his pads on you, I think guys feel it. So it's exciting to see some of the things that Monty's been able to do this year, and looking forward to the things he's going to do for this program for a long time to come.
We'll go in the center in the back.
Dan Anthony Dasher again. As far as your own particular position group, I know DeAndre Walker obviously provided a ton of leadership from that standpoint. But that was also a very young position. Guys like DeAndre Walker, Adam Anderson, what were some of the challenges they faced this year, and how they ultimately progressed to your satisfaction?
Yeah, DeAndre's role, obviously shifted from last year to this year, and he's done a phenomenal job for us. I think we're really excited about the things DeAndre's done this year, and how he's kind of a dynamic player from a standpoint of he's a guy that can set the edge and have heavy hands and play the run, but also has the ability to rush the passer. He's done a really good job with that. And Adam's a guy that you mentioned that's just continued to come along, throughout the season, get a better concept of what we do defensively, and his athleticism really speaks for itself. He could run for days, and it's always good when you have guys that can run on the field. But you got some other guys like Brenton Cox, Aziz Ojulari, Walter Grant that have all done a really good job this season, helping us in a number of ways.
We have time for one final question in the back over here on the left.
Chris Dabe with NOLA.com. You talked earlier about the Texas quarterback and his ability to run. When you think back to your team's game against LSU, Joe Burrow ran 13 times, 60-some yards. Do you see any similarities or comparison to what they do with their quarterback and LSU and Joe Burrow in that game?
Offensively, they're a lot different team than LSU. But yeah, there's definitely some similarities between the two quarterbacks. They're both really good players, and both can hurt you with their feet if you don't do a good job being accountable for the quarterback. So, I think that's something that we're prepared for. But as far as the offenses go, they're two completely different offenses.
Thank you, Coach. We invite you to move next door for player availability, where we have linebacker Tay